To go live. Oh, we're live.
We're live. Apparently, this is an experience. I've not done this before.
Have you not? Oh,
not like this. I've done plenty of Facebook Lives before, and doing non-Spurs stuff, but not with an esteemed company like yourself and something as organised as this.
An esteemed company.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, for anybody that's joining us, welcome to this live stream. My name is Charlie Whyman, and I am joined with the wonderful Mike Hall, and we're going to be talking today. It's just a curious conversation that we invite you to come and join us, just about kind of customer journeys, customer service, touch points that people have with your business, and just all of that good stuff. Because Mike and I have been chatting for a while, and we share quite a few opinions and thoughts around sort of customer journeys and having a look at the company structure as a whole, rather than just looking at marketing as one little segment. So if you do have any questions, then please bring them, post in the comments, get involved. If you're watching the replay, then put #replay. We will come back and respond to you afterwards. But yeah, it's just a curious conversation, really, that hopefully you'll find value in and benefit from.
Yeah.
So, just move my camera. So for anybody that's wondering, this is a live stream using StreamYard, which I really like. I think it's great. You can also save it. You can save the audio. And what I ran a challenge a while ago using StreamYard, and I did all of my Q&As every day on StreamYard. I exported the audio and I uploaded them as a private podcast for people that had joined the challenge, so that when you're catching up with things, you don't always have to just watch a video, because I personally hate watching video catch-ups and things like that for Q&As and stuff. I just prefer to listen to them. So, and it went down really, really well. So lots of different ways that you can use it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's about you can repurpose it, can't you, as well? That's the thing. You've got the content there.
You can. And also, one thing to know for anybody watching this thinking, oh, that's a great idea. Me and Andy Foote, who's another LinkedIn trainer. So for anybody that doesn't know me, I am a B2B marketing strategist, LinkedIn trainer, and momentum builder. And me and another LinkedIn trainer, Andy Foote, we got together to do a live stream all about just summarizing the key updates from LinkedIn in 2020 and talk about our predictions for the future. And what we found was that we ended up talking for 1 hour and 45 minutes. It was just before Christmas. We both had the time, and it was a great conversation. So I got really excited, thinking, right, I can export this, I can snip it up into lots of different pieces, I can do all this good stuff. But then realized that I forgot to check that I was still on the free trial of StreamYard, and I wasn't able to export anything, and it was only available on LinkedIn. So 1 hour and 45 minutes worth of content.
We live and learn.
We do. Mike, do you want to just introduce yourself quickly? So people.
Yeah. Hi there, folks. So my name is Mike Hall. I'm one of the co-founders of Think Smart Marketing. We specialize in strategic marketing, looking at the kind of strategy for the business, helping people get their fundamental elements of the marketing in place, which is really, really important. What we don't like seeing is people going off and just trying things because they can. And part of this is looking at how we can work with them to understand their customers, how they approach them, all their different touch points, the kind of things that they do, or in most cases what they're not doing, and look for the opportunities where we can help them. And really, it's all about where we can add value to what they're doing as well, and spotting those missing opportunities.
Brilliant. So you're not just a drunk F1 fan, as we were talking about before.
No. There are various things on my shelves which cause many conversations. But no, I do follow that. As we know, we spent the first time we ever chatted, we spent, I think, about 20 minutes chatting about Formula One. I thought, we better talk a bit of business on the back of it.
Yeah.
Yes. So
exactly.
It causes many bits of conversations in my background. It's good.
And that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? It's all about starting conversations.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of people think that, marketing is, how's it been described recently? It's been described as a chore, the dreaded thing that you have to do. Traumatic was how somebody recently described their marketing efforts. And I've always thought, because I felt the same, I was an engineer who ended up in a marketing role, and I used to hate the term sales and marketing. But what I found was the less I thought of it as sales and marketing, the more I thought of it as starting conversations, meeting interesting people that you can genuinely help, and just building relationships, the easier it became and the more fun it was.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I think that there is this kind of stigma that no one will actually be sold to. None of us do. We don't like that hard sales approach. But, what we discover is when we chat with people is having a conversation with someone, meeting someone, handing over a business card, whatever it is, that's your marketing, whether you like it or not. You're actually doing it. It's you. You're going out there and putting yourself out there. But it's about, starting the conversations and not trying to be that too. So I remember some of the first networking events that I went to, and it was almost like you're under this impression, you're under this power that I've got to come back with the lead. I've got to come back with the lead. And as you get older and a bit wiser, you realize it is about finding out about the other person, finding out what you have in common, and having those conversations. And we joke about the background, but it has been many times where I've met someone for the first time and we've just started chatting about stuff, and you just find things that are in common, because it's, we've all got these things, but it's people buy off people at the end of the day. And it's about being authentic and just being true. I think it's about being true to yourself, but understanding at the points you are communicating with people, what other touch points are you having with them, at what points, and what messages are you sending out, because it's about you building your brand and reputation. But yeah, not being too salesy. None of us like that. It's about being authentic and finding out. And you only get to know about other people by questioning them as well. What are their pains, what are their problems, which then you can then spin and turn to help them with help with the marketing to get those messages out there.
Absolutely. And so I really, really wanted to build curiosity into the sort of like main foundations of my business, because asking questions was the sort of biggest thing that I attribute to a lot of the marketing and sales success that I've had in my career. And I just think it's that, like, listening is so much more important than talking. I grew up around, car salesman. My dad had a business, and they used to sell like new and used cars. And I was under the impression that sales was just all about talking. It's all about that kind of stereotypical sort of car salesman talking type of thing. And especially in the engineering world, we're all massive cynics. We think of things very logically. And marketers and salespeople were just sort of seen as that manipulative, just trying to get you to go and buy from them what it was that they were selling, what it is that they're doing. I think the way that, if we're talking about like geeky references, I always like to use the Star Wars references, in that there's a light side and a dark side of marketing, and it's your choice to choose which side of the force that you sit on. I just think that, if you're in business and you have a real purpose and you're really dedicated to helping your customers, it's your duty to take responsibility for your marketing, because the better your marketing is, the easier it will be to sell to them. And then the more people you can help and the more people you can impact. So marketing is really, really important. But I think unless you speak to the right people, or unless you've kind of like gone through that painful learning process, it can take ages for that light bulb moment to switch on. And I keep trying to rack my brains as to when that light bulb moment came on for me. I was just like, this is just exhausting. Like, marketing was such a chore, and there were always more important things to do other than marketing. But then also, when you start looking inwards, you just think, actually, every time we speak to a client to help them with a problem, every time we meet a client at an event, every time we meet somebody new at an event, all of these things are marketing. Each different opportunity to speak to a customer, whether it's in person, it's online, it's through text, it's through video, whatever, it's an experience. And those experiences can really make or break that relationship.
It's about, as you say, it's about listening, and it's something that's taken me quite a bit of time to get around to as well. Actually understanding how the importance of listening. I don't mind admitting that. It's something I've learned, quite a lot over the past 2 or 3 years, certainly. But you're right. It is those opportunities to talk to the client and listen to what they're saying. Sometimes people get so excited about their product and service. They want to say how good it is, how brilliant it is, and it does all these fantastic things, and which really some people don't care. Apple do it really well. How they promote, 1 million songs in your pocket, I think it was for the iPad. They just kind of turn it around a little bit. But everyone, and when you speak to them, they get so passionate and they want to tell you about everything and every widget and every nut and bolt and thing, how brilliant their product is. But actually, it'll just cut the grass with it. Yeah, brilliant, I'll have one. And it's kind of turning it around. So it's, and I think this is where external people can add some real value, because what we've noted, business owners are great. They're very good. They've developed their business and they're fantastic at it. But sometimes having a different perspective on something, just in looking at it from another angle can make all the difference. And you know, that can be that light bulb moment when you say something to someone and they can see it go off and go, oh right, yes, I see what you mean. But also, as you say, it's about planning those kind of events. So I'm going to meet someone at an event and I'm going to talk to them and find out what their family's about and, you know, what's in common. Then what's the next step? Then what's the next step after that? And almost thinking that you do need some kind of process in place, so whereby, you know, you meet someone, this happens, then this happens, and then we get them into a system and they do X, Y, and Z. And often than not, it's not always planned out. And I think, you know, it does come back to maybe someone having that, just a different perspective on something for them. And as you say, you know, they are tied up on the day-to-day of things, and things just drop off that to-do. Well, they probably drop off the to-do list completely, never mind go down it. They're on the floor in a bucket somewhere. But it is, isn't it? It's that having the time and knowing what to tackle next.
Yeah, I love that.
Not having a fear of it.
The to-do list is such, I mean, for me, marketing was always at the bottom of the to-do list. Or I always ask people, what are you avoiding? Because what I find is the thing that you're avoiding the most is actually the thing that you need to do the most. Yeah. And I just think that marketing usually sits at the top of the I'm avoiding this list. And, you know, what you said then about working with an external party is so important. You know, like my first sort of marketing role, well, like I've kind of always done marketing, just never really acknowledged that that's what I was doing. And I was employed as a marketing assistant for a company. And I remember working with a marketing consultant, and it was me and the company owner. And they were, you know, going through the questions that we get asked all the time. It's like, you know, who are you targeting? Can you tell me about your target audience? And, you know, we targeted the global surveying industry, which is huge. You know, it's like lots of different surveying companies all around the world in like highways, rail, coastal, archaeology, heritage, forensics, you know, the list goes on. And we were a small team. It was just me doing the marketing. And as we know, any one person marketing team has lots of other responsibilities as well. And they were like, that's quite a big audience, the world and all of these surveying companies. You know, can we be a bit more specific? And then we went on this really like fascinating and slightly frustrating journey to understand, right, okay, who were we really targeting? Who were those like really key clients that we wanted to target that truly valued the service that we offered? They had the money and were willing to invest in the equipment that we were selling. And also, which is, I think, quite a few businesses don't always consider this one, were a joy to work with. You know, like we really enjoyed working with them. They weren't really challenging. And I think, you know, once you can get that right, and then you can map out that journey and what you said before about like what next. If you can understand where they go next, everything just fits into place and everything is so much easier. Yeah,
it does. And I think you hit on a massive thing there, which is value alignment. I think that's so important. So important, because, you know, ultimately, like you say, it's about wanting to have fun and engage with people, and it doesn't want to become a chore when you work with the client. And we've got lots and lots of clients who actually, we you know, then it's not a chore at all. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it never feels like work, does it?
Well, sometimes it can do, but yeah, not a lot. Most of the time, no. To be fair to all of our clients, I would say they're all good to work with, and those ones who aren't, they're the ones who kind of naturally drift, you know, from you, and you know, you still want to help them, and you never fall out with people, clearly. But, you know, some people are a better fit than others. And it's just the value piece for me, and certainly, you know, with Claire and Gary, it's exactly the same. It's about having those clients who we can work with and understand the value we're trying to be, and realize that actually some of the stuff that you want to do, it can be a little bit, as you're going, you know, you've got this to-do list of things to do, and you can suddenly get overwhelmed with how much to do. Where do I start? What do I do first? And looking at the way we approach things and trying to take things into a systematic way, it actually breaks all that overwhelm down. So all of a sudden you're going from this big list of things that you could do and you don't know what to do. So actually you don't do anything, to actually having a prioritized way of working and thinking, right, okay, let's look at where we want to be. Let's look at all these different things we can do with our customers. Brilliant. This is great. We've got some great stuff here. Right. Let's manage it down so we can do it in manageable chunks. And it's also about helping them to empower themselves. So you know, what can they do themselves? Where they've got incumbent suppliers they can work with to help with, or actually where we can help them support. It's up to them. But it's giving them a way that breaks down the old one. We can go through it. People like checklists. They like lists of things to do, and they like to see things done. And we're all like this, we like to see ticks against things and things going from red to green to amber, or whatever it might be. We like a way of monitoring things through. And you can get the buy-in because it is just the way that people can see things evolve, and they can see where we're trying to go to and what we're trying to achieve, but including them. And this is the other thing as well. It's about, it becomes a partnership, whoever you work with, and when it becomes a team piece of work, because you're working with them. You need to engage with them and also listen to what they're saying, so you can build up this picture together where you want to go. And it just helps bring that clarity down.
Because you can get, it's so easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of opportunity that's available, especially when you're doing your own sales and marketing. There are so many different strategies and tactics that you can implement to do it yourself, and also lots of people out there that are telling you what you should and shouldn't focus on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be right for you, and there is a way that you can market and sell that's in line with your values. It's in line with the way that you want to do things. And I always say, like, just be curious and explore the right option for you. And also when you have that system in place and the flow, it can keep you grounded and help with those decisions. I was speaking to somebody this morning and they were like, well, I'm not really sure whether I should get involved in Instagram, or what I should do with Facebook, what I should do with Twitter, and this and this. And I'm like, hang on a minute, if you're doing all of your marketing yourself, don't spread yourself too thin, trying to be everything to everyone and just trying to be everywhere. There are a couple of really key things. Yes, you can have a Facebook profile, but just direct people back to the place that you hang out the most, and go to where your market is. Don't try to make them come to you, especially if you haven't built up that brand, that audience, and that understanding. Yeah,
it's understanding your products, what you're offering, what pains and problems you solve for that particular client or customer. And where is that customer? Where are they hanging around? That's the thing. And you can have, there's many businesses have got many different solutions. They'll have an overarching message about their brand and their values and all the rest of it. But I'll give it. So shoes as an example. You could speak to someone who says, "I'm going to sell shoes." Right. So everyone with 2 feet's your market. Okay, knock yourself out. You'll be there for a while. But if you say, I'm selling, ladies' shoes that are black, that are size 3, that are buttoned up or laced or whatever, then you start narrowing it down. But you talk about the pains and problems for that person. And, many people have got different sectors that they go for the same product, but they're answering a different problem. And so you need to be talking the messaging that resonates with them so they can get it. So you might have 6 or 7 or 8 different customers, and then we all might be in slightly different places, but focus on the ones that you work with. But also look at, when we do the exercise of talking through the clients and working out their touch points and we map things out, we're curious. We're curious, like you're saying, where are your leads coming from? You've got 10, 12, we're getting leads from here, here, and here. Well, actually, okay, that's great. But which are the ones that are making you the money?
And how many leads can you actively manage at any one point?
Yeah, and there's the other thing as well about having the process in place. So yeah, brilliant. We've got 1,000 customers coming in, but we can't service them. So, it is about, and when we look at things, we go across kind of the 6 areas. So you've got awareness, interest, trial, evaluation, adoption, and loyalty. And Claire will be chuffed that I've got them right, because I always get them wrong. So we always go through that buying cycle, don't we? We're aware of something right through to being a loyal, retained customer. And it's thinking about each of those stages for your customer, the messages you're giving, and walking that customer through all that thing, because you want to keep them. I've just done a blog today, that went out today, and someone's commented about how leaky is your bucket. We're all focused on the shiny new customers that we want to get, and it's brilliant because it's really exciting, but we're kind of forgetting about the people we're already dealing with. And if we spend all this time, I've got some great, we bought, if I tell you a little story about a shower we had fitted.
Go for it.
This is a great example of how bad your customer service can be. So we bought a shower, and the buying experience, well, we had a new bathroom, actually. I had a whole bathroom. It was brilliant. The experience, the communication, the coffee, and it was brilliant. Installation was okay. After service was shocking. And that's it. So our reputation was, we'll never speak to any, but we told more people about how bad it was, because they fitted the shower tray wrong, and the guy came out, was a fixer, and his job was to go around and fix issues. I said to him, how's things? He said, I'm really busy. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. If you're the guy who's going out solving the problems and you're busy, then surely there's an issue. You should be like the telephone on the Carlsberg advert, which is the wrong number and it's covered in dust. And this is it. This is the thing. Everyone's focused about getting that new customer there and making them feel wonderful and brilliant. But then afterwards, they're not looking after them. So you need to build a process in that once you've bought a customer's gone, yes, I want some of whatever you're doing. How do you onboard them? What do you do? Have you worked that process out right through to right? You've done the job. Now what happens? Are you communicating regularly? Are you asking them how they're doing? There's so many things that people don't do. And I think a lot of this is not around because people don't want to do it. It's just maybe they're not aware of how it can be done and how easy some of this stuff can be.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? How easy it can be just to implement that.
Yeah.
And also having an aligned team. You know, I think too many businesses have a really big misconception of what marketing is. You know, everything that I'm talking about, you know, I've felt in the past. You know, I didn't study marketing. I learned it on the fly. I was trying all sorts of different things. And let's be honest, I was winging it. And I've worked with lots of different experts and done lots of different things over the years. And, you know, all of my knowledge and experience now comes from a place of like having made those painful mistakes in the past. And, you know, it is easy to implement some of these things, but marketing isn't advertising. Marketing isn't just about generating leads. And the way I like to talk about it is that if you view marketing like you're taking your clients on an adventure with your business, like I'm not a big fan of journeys because I find journeys to be a single event. So I like to use the word adventure. So take your clients on an adventure with your business, because adventures, if it's great, you want to keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
And even if you don't want to keep coming back to it, you're much more likely to tell other people about it. And word of mouth marketing has always and will always be one of the most powerful drivers for referrals and new business and all these things. So I think it's that, like, for businesses that have a bad relationship with marketing, or businesses that want to get more leads and more clients, specifically more clients, think of it as an adventure, but think of how people progress through that adventure. And empower your entire team, especially the customer facing people, to take responsibility around their part of that adventure. So you can create those sort of special moments and those special experiences to make people want to keep coming back to. The other thing as well is that, you know, I think we all talk about, like, every experience is either good, bad, or excellent. Good is pretty average. We all expect a good experience, don't we? Nobody ever talks about good experiences.
No.
We all talk about the really bad experiences because we get annoyed and we just want to tell other people, and we want to warn people, you know, because we're good human beings and we want to stop other people having the same issues that we do. And then excellent experiences, you know, we also want to talk about those and tell more people about it. So if you want to stand out and you want to really take advantage and leverage that word of mouth marketing, you kind of need to be excellent, and you need to get people talking about the amazing things that you do for your clients. And it really isn't rocket science, and it isn't difficult, and it also doesn't have to be expensive either.
No, I think there's ways, again, if you map all this out what you want to do, it's like going back to this, you know, the sales guys your sales team, you know, empowering them to ask the right questions to see what other opportunities they are, and giving them permission to do the random acts of kindness, the little bits of things that just make a difference, the box of chocolates, the brownies, or whatever it might be, just to make people feel. And it's not the amount you spend, it's the thought, it's the fact you've thought to do it. You know, that makes the difference. And, you know, if you empower your team to do those kind of things and have that as part of the process, then it'll get done. Because what you want to do is, you want, you know, we always think that, you know, I love the analogy of adventure. I think that's great. But you want people to have a consistent adventure. So customer A and customer B should be having a similar kind of experience, which helps about getting the process out and putting it down there. So you've got something to work to. So you want to surprise and delight where you can do. You know, I think that's really important. Because, as you say, you'll tell more people about the issues that you've had rather than the great ones. But at the same time, I think people will rave about it if they've seen something or received something from you that's just brilliant, and wow, I didn't expect it. You know, we've done a few things of late where you get a nice message on LinkedIn, and it's just, you know, it's just a nice feeling for us, but it's a nice feel for the client as well. The fact they've experienced something and they feel like you care and bothered, and you've thought about the process you're going through. And I think a lot of people don't also, you know, they spend the time wanting to ask their customers. We're very good at not asking for those little things like, you know, do you know anyone else who we can speak to? Because that's another way. I've done it this morning. I rang 2 or 3 customers up and said, look, we're looking to do this, that, and the other. And then, you know, you're a bit kind of, I'm not sure whether I should. But the response has been, yeah, no problem. You know, which it is, word of mouth is really powerful. But the other things that you're doing and the activity you're doing is reinforcing your brand. As you know, we've said before, it's like the footprint, isn't it? It's the footprint you leave in the sand. Or in that case, when the weather's been after snow. But it's the footprint it's the footprint you leave behind, isn't it? It's what people perceive about you and your brand. And
that reputation as well.
Yeah.
It takes ages to build up a reputation, but it can quite easily crumble. But it's all well and good, because I mean, we're both marketers talking about this. The company that I used to work for, Martech Marine, they used to do the surprise and delight really, really well, and it was one of the things that really made me want to work for the company in the first instance. And it kind of goes off what we were talking about to start with around those personal touches. So the customer service team, they got to know the customers in terms of, like, when was their birthday, what were their interests, to the point where if one of their customers got married or got engaged, the customer service team just sent them an engagement card or sent them a married card. And a lot of this was all customized depending on what the client was interested in. So to use this example, both of us, like, we had a chat. I had no idea of your interest in motorsport and Formula One. We had a chat on Zoom, and I saw the Williams car behind you. So then that sparks that conversation. It creates those moments, and it helps me remember, and it helps you remember other people that share interests of yours. So it makes you more referable, it makes you more memorable, and also it helps keep those moments alive. Because the other thing that you can really take advantage of, and Adam, I'm really embarrassed now, I've completely forgotten his last name.
I'm good at doing that, don't worry about that. Gary will tell you that, I'm hopeless at remembering names.
So bad. Anyway, I did a podcast interview with Adam from a company called Force 24, and I used to be a client of Force 24 many years ago, and it's a wonderful company, brilliant company, and they take their customer service really, really seriously. But all of the interactions that they have with their clients, they use in their product development. So they take all of the customer support queries, they take all of the feature requests, and they pull it all together and then feature that in their plan. So they're constantly developing a product that their customers want and feeding that in. So it's just integrating each different part of the company, feeding it back so that you're leveraging all of the assets as much as possible to really create this amazing adventure. So if you want a real world example, then go to the Curiosity Key podcast, have a look for the episode with Adam from a company called Force 24, and he talks about how they do that in their company. So it's not just marketers talking about the great, good practices and things. You can actually see some real examples of that, which is really, really powerful.
I think the customer service bit is really key. Because, and again, just to give you an example of exactly what you were saying. So back in the late 80s, early 90s, I did a lot of work with, where I was previously working with the likes of BT Mobile, BT Cellnet. And we used to write the user guides for mobile phones when they first came out. So I'm talking when they were the size of a house brick, we'd illustrate them, write them. And we talked to the customer service team, because one of the biggest issues they had when phoning up was the batteries were going flat. And no one was telling them that they should charge them before they do. First thing you do, everyone was so excited because they got this phone that was this big. You take it out of the box, ring, and then the battery would go. And we spoke to customer service, and we got some of the top feedback of what was going on. So we developed a Read Me First card, which sat in the front of the box. So as soon as they opened it, the first thing they said was, charge your phone. And it cut down a load of calls to customer service. So I think that's a great point, is actually engaging those people and talking to them, because they're the ones who are on the front line. We often saw, when people are talking about the copywriting or the messages they put out there, then a great source can be actually, well, what kind of queries are you getting from your customers? What can you preempt? Which is a great thing what these guys have done. It's about preempting things and almost seeing it before it comes. And that adds another value. You're still marketing, because you're still sending messages out there. You're still sending communications out, whatever that might be, but you're still talking about it. But having a process whereby you're feeding back those customer service thoughts and comments. And, we've been involved in developing, again, previous where I was, we developed a random acts of kindness platform for O2. And that was allowed their service team, for some of the SME guys, to phone up, if they were having a bad day, they could send them a box of chocolates or whatever. And it was that ability just to be able to send a box of, a bottle of wine or some flowers or some fruit and things like that they could just do it. And again, it saw the customer service scores go right up. But it's about having it as part of that process and mapping it out. Because if you don't know how you're going to achieve it, you'll just do things willy-nilly kind of thing, where you want to go through it, talk them through it, get the buy-in from those kind of people and say, right, this is the route that we take our customers through. And if they go to customer services, this is how we're going to deal with it. And giving them the bit to empower them and make that customer go, wow, brilliant. Because at the end of the day, look, we all make mistakes. Everything happens. Things can go wrong. You can make a mistake. But how you deal with that can be massive. I've learned from doing customer testimonials where I've had a score come back and it's been really bad, and you think, oh my god. So you phone the client up and you say, oh, I'm really sorry, and they go, well, it wasn't that bad really, it was all right, and you get a real positive out of it. So I think sometimes we don't like to get that criticism back.
Oh, but it's so important because
It's massively important.
It gives it's you know, if somebody is willing to stick their hand up and tell you what's gone wrong, it's your opportunity to fix it. Because I think the best example I could give about this is, you know, all of the spammy sales messages that you get on LinkedIn that you really hate. You know, your inbox is always stuffed full of people just flat out selling you stuff that you don't need, you don't want, you're not interested in, and you just want to hit delete, and you get really annoyed, and you tell other people how annoyed you are. But that person who's sending them, if it's them that's just been on a sales training course, or they think that that is the way to sell, they don't know any different, you know, unless they're using bots or automation or a really bad marketing agency, then they don't know any different. And because nobody's
sorry about that. I should have muted my phone. Sorry. Number one, mute your phone, Michael. Sorry.
It's all right. I think today is just one of those days where nothing is going to go to plan. You just got to adapt. Just got to work.
Just got to adapt. Actually, that was a client. That's really bad customer service I've just given him. There you go.
Off on it. There you go. It's going to go against your performance review.
That's it. That's me. That's us gone. Yeah. Fine.
What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying now. What were we talking about? We were talking about. I can't remember.
No, I can't remember. No, I can't remember what we were talking about then. Sorry, no, I was just.
Oh, that was it. Spammy sales messages on LinkedIn.
Oh, spammy. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody complains about them, but nobody complains about them to the person that's actually sending them. So they may get 2 responses or even 5 responses out of every 100 messages that they're sending out to people. So as far as they're concerned, what they're doing is working. You know, what they don't realize is that they've annoyed 95 to 98% of the people that they're actually sending messages to.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I welcome criticism as long as it's constructive and it comes from a place of kindness. And I just think, you know, it takes nothing to be kind. No, but if you have a bad experience with somebody, tell them about it. But, you know, again, share it with kindness. Like if I do anything wrong, or, you know, if something's not right or something could be improved, I welcome the feedback because then it helps me fix it and fix it faster. So I think from a consumer point of view or a customer point of view, always, you know, give that feedback because it's really, really important. But also as a supplier and a business that's trying to sell, you know, ask for that feedback as well, because not everybody is always willing to give it.
I think also as well, people forget to ask for it. So actually having it as part of that kind of process. I mean, interestingly enough, here's another fact you perhaps didn't know about me, but I'm also a qualified badminton coach as well.
Oh, there you go. I did not know that.
There you go. You didn't know that. But the reason for mentioning this is part of when I did my coaching course. So I did a level 1, which is basically you pick a racket up, can you hold it? Yes, you passed. To level 2, which was really, I think, about 6 packets of paracetamol and several weekends working with kids. But one of the things they taught was when you know, because you're working with kids and different types of people, is always give that positive feedback, but kind of spin it. What you did was brilliant. And actually, I get it. But actually, if you thought about doing it this way, there's a better way of doing it. So it was always about, about doing things in a positive way so that you weren't kind of belittling anyone. And I think that also reflects really strongly on your brand and your messages. So it's all, you know, wherever you interact with someone, if you're consistent, and, you know, we talk about how the messages that you send out has to be authentic. It needs to sound like you. Whatever the touch points are in your business needs to reflect what you're doing. Don't force something in if it's not natural, because it will get spotted. You have to do it so it's congruent to everything that you're doing.
I think that's why it's so important to explore a way that's going to work for you and your business. It's like prime example. It's people that are going, oh, you have to blog every day. You have to blog every day. That's the best way that you can get your website ranking. That's the way that you can market and do all these things. And I remember having been on the receiving end of that advice, going, what are you talking about? Like, I hate writing. I haven't got time to write every day. What on earth is going on? But a lot of people dish out advice without understanding the person that they're speaking to or the context in which they're giving that advice. And a lot of people ask for advice without giving context as well. And it's one of those that, you know, like, you can blog every day and hate writing. You can dictate your blog into, you know, the otter.ai app. You can dictate it into your phone and get it transcribed. You know, there are loads of different ways around it. It's not just, you know, if you take everything on face value, especially in a marketing context, then, you know, it can be quite discouraging. So
I think that part of this, though, is going back to fundamentals, going back to the basics, and really understanding your target customer. And I think there's a couple of things in it. It's understanding your target customer and your proposition clearly, but it's also understanding what you're comfortable with as well. You know, some people, as you said, some people like to blog, some people don't like to blog, some people struggle. But openly admitting and saying that's not a skill set, then find the right people around you through recommendations who can support you, because you can't be good at everything. But it still comes back to understanding who that customer is and being really fun. And then you can take them on that adventure, that journey, whatever you want to call it, but map it out to make it work for them. And also the product that you're doing, you know, product and service. But knowing what your own capabilities is and where you need that support. And also we're working on a thing at the minute called a fingerprint document, which is almost like going to be the DNA sort of key things you need in place for your marketing. And then you can create, if you have all these building blocks, then no matter who you go to, whether it's a web designer, or whether it's a printer or a copywriter, they understand your business and they should be able to know that, you know, customer X, right, well, we know that actually they're like my mum, she's 80, forget Facebook, no chance. Twitter, stick something in the post, you've got a chance. But, you know,
don't underestimate the 80-year-olds on Facebook.
You haven't met my mum. I know my mum. Trust me. We gave me an iPod at Christmas, and God and Bennett, it'd been easier to go with solve world crisis than try and get this thing sorted out. But the point, I'm making a general assumption here, but it's so fundamental to understand. So you're not, as you said before, you know, about spreading yourself too thin, trying to do too much. Then you're going to waste your energy on loads of things that might not hit. It's a bit like going into a sweet shop. That's what I think. So a kid goes into a sweet shop, they see all these sweets, they have a bag of this, they have a bag of that, and then the mate's got some of them, so they try some of that, and they've got all these sweets, and now they don't know what to do, just feel a bit sick. So they don't eat any of them. And I think it's still going down to the fundamentals and then having an objective look and standing in your customer's shoes. You know, this is something that Claire talks about a lot, my business partner. You know, from her experience working with Mamas and Papas in the retail industry, they actually had a chair that they sat in. And they actually think about it from the customer's perspective, and that is really key on a lot of these things. Looking at it from another pair of eyes, another perspective as to what people see. And if you look at things objectively, then that really, really helps.
Yeah, and never make assumptions. One of my one of my favorite things is like assumption. If you make an assumption or if you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And it is such a good reset just to kind of like realign and understand what you're doing. But it is that. And I think so many businesses as well don't appreciate what they're actually sitting on right now. Is that, you know, my three sort of like key areas of focus are all around sort of understanding what your priorities are. So what's the most important thing that you need to focus on right now, what to leverage, and then what to create systems and processes around. So like I use the word systemize quite a lot, but the leverage piece is that, like, you know, if you're going into a sweet shop, it's like, well, do you actually have a cupboard full of sweets at home? And you've just been distracted and just think that you need to go into the sweet shop to get the next new, you know, shiny thing. And it's like with marketing, it's like, look at all of the tools, the assets and the resources that you have available to you. So things like, you know, your existing team, and, you know, especially for small companies where they have the flexibility to be nimble and to, you know, sort of keep on their toes, is that, you know, the personalities of all your customer facing staff are an asset. The experience and the stories and the knowledge that your existing staff and your existing team have as well, that's an asset that you can use and that you can leverage. You know, all of your blog content, all of the things that you've been doing, sometimes if it's not working for you, it might just be that you need to tweak it, you might need to change it a little bit to make it work for you, rather than just like delete it and start again or do something else. And the leverage piece for me is just so important.
I think there's another thing as well, is that certainly over the past, you know, few months, and we've helped clients do this, is that they've seen their offering change a little bit. You know, because it's had to, because of the situation that we're in. So what was right, you know, for your customer 12 months ago could well be different now. But how many people take the opportunity to go back to the customers and say, look, we developed this product, or even check to see if they know what all your products and services are? You know, how many people? I put one of the blogs that went out today, which was about the leaky bucket, also talked about a blog that I wrote called "I Didn't Know You Did That." And there's nothing worse than speaking to a client going, "Oh, we can do that," and they go, "I have no idea." Well, okay, well, if they don't know, how many other people don't know? So part of the awareness piece is talking about, and the interest piece is talking about the things that you do. And as you say, if your staff or, you know, team are in front of customers, and are they fully aware of everything that's going on in the business? Perhaps not. You know, how many people don't talk to each other, and what are the opportunities? But refreshing and going through all your services and think, actually, what could we else help our customer with? Or even going to Mr. Customer and saying, we haven't had a check-in for a while. How can we help you with your business? What else do you need us to do? And if we all, I'm sure I've certainly had opportunities where the client's gone, can you do this? And I've gone, yeah, fine. And then think, right, oh, how the hell do I do it now?
Yeah.
The answer, I was always told the answer is always yes. And there's always a way to do it. And, when 30 years ago as a young, when my ears were still wet, it was a bit like, oh my God, how do I manage? But now you take things in a bit more of a stride because there usually is a way that you can find someone to be done. But unless you've asked the questions about how else we can help you, then it's a way to help grow yours. And again, it's that your brand. It's if you're a helpful brand, want to do more and want to help, then you chat with customers and you're not trying to sell, you're just trying to help them and add value where you can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. The opportunity to maybe cross-sell your products, upsell your products. Did you know we did this? And these are all great messages that you can send out to your customers. Again, having it in the right point of the journey, and when you do it, and giving away value-added content that talks about how you've helped people, I think is really powerful. But again, it can come to overwhelm. So break it all down and do it in a manageable way.
Like one step at a time.
Yeah, it is. It's like eating the elephant, isn't it? Eating a little bit at a time. And I think you're better to do something well than lots of things badly, or little bits of nibbling away. That's the thing.
I would say it's not about doing more, it's about doing less but better.
Yeah.
And sort of really focusing on the things that can make the biggest impact. It's like if you are running webinars and you have a look at that whole process. One of my biggest bugbears in the last year are the amount of marketing agencies. And full disclosure for anybody watching this, I do have a bit of beef with certain marketing agencies, having had so many bad experiences over the years. But that doesn't mean that I don't agree with marketing agencies, because I do think marketing agencies are great, as long as you can find the right one. But a lot of marketing agencies, they'll put together a proposal and they'll say, oh, right, okay, well, we really think that you need to do webinars. And then you get really excited and you just think, yes, webinars, that's a really, really good way for us to communicate with our market, especially with COVID and lockdown and all of this stuff going on. But not necessarily considering, okay, how do we take people through that part of the journey in our overall adventure? Because webinar isn't just creating the content for an hour-long webinar, delivering value and hoping that people get to it. If you're running a webinar and you've been doing a couple and you have a landing page, then it's just like, right, okay, how can you use that landing page? How can you optimize it so that you get more people who visit that page, sign up for your webinar? And then after that, okay, so they've signed up for the webinar. We all know that they're not all going to turn up live and get involved in that webinar. So how can you make sure that more and more people turn up live? And then once it's over, what do you do with them after it's over? Do you have a process that you can take people through to keep them engaged, to keep them curious? And I don't like the awareness term that marketing uses all of the time, because I just think, especially today where the internet is so noisy, like LinkedIn reported a 60% increase in content that was published on LinkedIn in the last 12 months. 60% increase in content. And it's such a noisy place and everybody's fighting for attention. Everybody wants to make people aware of who they are. Everybody wants to get in front of the target market. But I just think it's not enough anymore. You need to make them curious, and you need to make them want to come back, and you need to make them want to go to that next step. So you need to lead them to what is that next step, which is what we were talking about before, about making sure that you have those touch points identified.
It is, and it's talking through, and if it's not working, you change it and tweak it and things like that. When we run webinars, you have the build up to it, looking forward to seeing you, and as many chances as you can to remind them to come along. And you've got the follow up afterwards. Here's the live recording. Here's some more value add. Blah blah blah. And it all takes time and effort. It isn't just like you say, racking up and speaking for 45 minutes or whatever it might be. It's all the stuff you do before and afterwards, and it can be quite hard graft. And I don't think people can kind of realize, how much goes into sorting these kind of things out. But it's about making them want to have more, keeping that content dripping through, so that people are curious and they want to know more about you in the business. And also as well, people are different. If you land on that very lucky moment where you've actually caught someone who's actually looking for your service there and then, chances are pretty low. You've just got to keep out there and keep front of mind. And I didn't think we were doing, massive amounts of stuff, but someone said to me, oh yeah, I've been watching you, you've been really present. I'm thinking, right, okay. So your perception of how much you're doing and what other people see is different as well. And it's about, I think, having the biggest thing is having a plan and some kind of order to do it all with.
Yeah,
that's the big thing where we can't find other people kind of fail around things.
I find it absolutely fascinating. Like for me, marketing is all about understanding behaviors and just really getting into the nitty-gritty of how the people that you most want to help behave and interact with the things that you can help them with. And, like I come from a background of working in sort of like very high-tech environments where sales cycles can take years. And what I learned with mine, when I first went into business for myself, I didn't expect sales cycles to be as long. That was one thing. Like marketing yourself is a whole different ball game. So for anybody thinking of going into business for themselves, just be aware, very, very different. Yeah. And what I found was that through lockdown, especially the first lockdown, like last March, I started working with a few clients that had been on my email list and been in my LinkedIn network for over 2 years. So they'd followed my journey from when I started my business to when I started doing different things. But the time wasn't right for them to work with me back then, and also I work with a lot of people that kind of work with other LinkedIn, from a LinkedIn point of view, especially. A lot of people will work with, people that promise quick wins. And, I'm always very upfront is that, my methods take time. It's all about building relationships, building a reputation, and, sort of building those solid foundations, because 3.5 years of training people how to use LinkedIn and leverage LinkedIn as a sales and marketing tool, the majority of people don't have a robust marketing strategy or a plan. No. And that was also different, is that a marketing strategy is different to a marketing plan. And also you can have a plan, but if you're not implementing it, you're not going to go anywhere.
No, you're not. No.
And that's the key bit that I really wanted to solve. And that's why, it's like talking to Mark, I don't offer marketing services. It doesn't play into my area of expertise. I never wanted to start a marketing agency, but I do want to help companies with this problem. And for me, it's all about building momentum. It's all about setting that plan, implementing what's on the plan, making those small steps forward so you can actually achieve big change and actually create an impact.
Yeah. I think it's a similar approach as when we work them on the touchpoint program to get them aligned and we map out the process. It is about, and we really, like yourself, this isn't about you're not going to get a massive return straight. This is about long term. Yes, it will help your business because we're working with a client at the minute. They can't put a figure on the actual ROI and the process we've gone through, but we know it's impacted their bottom line and how it's made it better for them and the process they've gone through. But then once you start doing the tactical stuff on top of it, that's where you get your ROI. You start to measure but it's getting that plan in place and the fundamentals in place to allow them to have something to follow. Because without that, they really are kind of, you're drifting a little bit on your marketing. You need to get those fundamentals in place, which then allow you, it is about finding the right customers, the right ones that are giving you the right profitability, getting more of those, but having a route to go down and taking them on that journey, adventure, call it what you will. And once you've got that plan in place, from the strategic point of view, you can then follow it through.
Yeah, I think about tactics are so important
absolutely,
in marketing, but there is no point implementing tactics unless it supports the plan and the strategy that you're working on. And your marketing strategy has to set the business up for success. It can't just be, sort of written in isolation. And to use your example about the phone company before, is that, that little note that says charge the phone first, that increases the customer experience. So they're going to be happier. They're going to want to keep coming back more, but also it's going to reduce your customer service costs because you're not going to be on the phone answering the same question over and over and over. So, great marketing has such a positive impact on lots of different areas of business. It's not just about lead generation.
No, it's as I said before, it's the footprint you leave behind. It's everything you're doing with your brand and reputation.
Yeah, and I think
so much to go out.
Like me and Mike, we both offer very similar things to our clients. And if you're wondering, why are you getting together and having this chat, is that, we both agreed that collaboration is way more important than competition. We're both working towards the same mission. We both want to help companies take control, take ownership and responsibility of their marketing, get those results. If you don't buy into the whole concept of taking your clients on an adventure with your business, but you like the idea of touchpoint marketing and taking people on an adventure, who you want to have a conversation with. I'm not going to be for everybody. I know I'm definitely not for everybody. Yeah. Mike's not going to be for everybody. So it's, explore who you want to work with and find the person that is going to help you achieve your goals. It may not be me or Mike. It may be nobody, but sometimes it's like, I talk about climbing mountains all the time. If you think of your business goal as summiting a mountain, there are many different routes up that mountain. The fastest route might require more skill, more expertise. It might need a fair bit of equipment like ice picks and crampons. And you might need an experienced climbing coach to help you get there. Or you could do it yourself, but it might take you a little bit longer, and you might need to take a few wrong turns along the way and then go up that route. Or you might walk it yourself, but then have a guide that tells you which is the easiest and the quickest path to go down. So, there's a different route for everybody. Acknowledge which route you're on, acknowledge what you want to get out of it, but just explore the options that's right for you and have conversations with people.
Yeah, and ask the right questions.
Yeah,
that's another one, isn't it? It's finding people who fit with you. You've got to gel with the person you want to deal with, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and if you're a Formula One fan, then it's just going to be who you want to speak to. But I guess it depends which camp you fall into, McLaren or Williams. I'm not really sure.
Well, either way, doesn't matter. I'm quite happy to chat to I'm happy to chat to anybody. I'll chat to all day long. I'm quite happy with that. But I think the person thing is more important. You can feel more comfortable with people, and you get the right thing. And if you find the right person, they'll be honest whether they can help you or not. That's the other thing. And not just take the dollar. They want to be able to help you and really ask value, and that's the most important thing. And ask the right things about your business. It's really true. You can do it yourself, or you can get some help along the way. And you want to engage with someone who can help you grow your business and be there for anyone who works with you should be there for the long term as well. The long term, relationship. I'm still working with a client of mine who I've been working on for 20 odd years, and I think it's just if you get the right people and you get that right gel, and the big thing we haven't said is trust. Trusting people is huge, and asking for recommendations.
Absolutely, because also when you trust somebody, then you're more willing to sort of forgive the human errors and little mistakes and things like that happen. If you like somebody and you trust them, then you don't have to be perfect. Especially in the B2B world, I think a lot of companies think that they have to be that perfect professional, exterior. But we all know that everybody makes mistakes. And if they trust you and they like you, they're not going to complain about those mistakes publicly. Whereas if they don't like you and there's no buy-in, then they'll be straight on Twitter telling everybody, avoid you like the plague. Cool. Well, we've been having a long natter for a while now. Possibly worth wrapping up. Do you have any sort of lasting words of wisdom that you want to share or anything?
Lasting words of wisdom? No. I think it's about try not to overthink things. I think there's an element of simple is good, keeping it simple. The fundamental things for us are, if you get the building blocks in place of understanding your customer, understanding the messages that you send out, and think about that journey you want to take customers on and plan it through, then actually then doing the rest of it comes straightforward. You don't have to think about that anymore. So it's about planning it, get the elements in place, have a plan, follow it through, and engage with the right people to help you do it. And more than happy to chat with anyone if they want any more further info. But I think I can't think of anything else to add to that, actually, Charlie.
I think we've covered lots of different things. So thank you for joining us. If you've joined us live, if you're joining on the replay, thank you. Just let us know that you're here. Just put #replay so we know that you have joined us on the replay. And we hope that you've found this valuable and have things that you can take away and have a look at what it is that you're doing. The one thing that I will say as well, just like a sort of shameless post at the end, a shameless promotional statement at the end, I am running a 5-day LinkedIn liftoff event from the 8th to the 12th of February. The link is, I haven't got the link, but I do have a link to a quiz. There you go, I'm promoting the wrong thing. It's if you do the quiz, it's off the back of the quiz. But basically, from the 8th to the 12th of February, it's a 5-day event. So you're going to get one 10-minute training every single day for those 5 days. And then also there will be 2 30-minute Q&A opportunities throughout those days. So lots of opportunities to get help and support with the idea behind lifting off your business on LinkedIn and really leveraging LinkedIn as a key sales and marketing tool. We're talking about integrating LinkedIn into your overall marketing strategy. So it's not just a new shiny object. It's not just something that sits in isolation, but actually something that works with everything that you're doing. If you're not interested in the event, then that's absolutely fine. But I do recommend checking out this quiz that I've put together, because it'll help you understand kind of your key areas of focus and any gaps and things like that that you might want to have a look at. So definitely worth checking out. Brill. Okie doke. Mike, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Travis. It's been good fun. Enjoyed it.
See you all soon. Ciao for now.